People are saying President Trump is about to strike Iran, but let's see the pattern with this happening in the past. President Trump struck the Iran nuclear facilities and no war happened. In fact, peace ensued. He struck the Houthis and no war happened and peace ensued. So it is the pattern. Peace through strength is a pattern and it's shown successful, especially done by President Trump. And people who claim to support him try to go against it and say he's going to start a war. If you really support President Trump, you shouldn't. Why would you go against his agenda on something that actually has shown and proven to work over time? Actually, the majority of people in America support the strikes on Iran because we don't want to nuclearize Iran. We want a peaceful Iran for the Persians, the Iranian people, who are great people, and then for America's safety. That's what we want. And people going against his agenda who claim to support are being hypocritical. They shouldn't call themselves Trump supporters because they're not doing that. And we have people on both sides. For example, let's say Ro Khanna and then Thomas Massey. They are trying to say that he's trying to get us into a war. Here's the pattern, right? There's a reason why not really any other uh, person like these two are going out so much is because they both don't like Trump. Okay, Ro Khanna doesn't like Trump. Thomas Massey, he's a rhino. He's not a real Republican. He doesn't like Trump. So that's why these two Democrats are going to try to get Trump to not do the strikes. And here's the thing: we don't want a war with Iran. That's the whole point. If Iran gets a nuclear weapon, that's like we don't want that, right? That's the whole reason Trump is striking Iran. It's not for war. We want to avoid war. We want to make peace, and we want to make peace with the Iranian people, who are great people. Okay, I've met many Iranian people. They're great people, and people are worried about oil prices spiking. Shouldn't you be worried about a war with Iran in the first place? I think we come from the same place. We don't want war with Iran, but we're coming from different angles, right? One angle is if we strike Iran, that'll be a war. Historically, that's not been the case. Okay? The other thing is if we don't strike Iran and stop their nuclear facilities, that that might end up in a war, which we don't want. Right? So there's two different things. So we rather one is preventative and one is okay, we'll deal with it later. We rather prevent it. Right? We don't want a war. And that's what peace through strength is. And President Trump does peace through strength incredibly well. Marco Rubio is a fantastic Secretary of State, amazing. Pete Hegseth, fantastic as well. JD Vance also extremely fantastic. His whole cabinet, for the most part, is extremely fantastic, especially the ones that are involved with making these foreign policy decisions. They're fantastic. And President Trump has been the most effective, most successful, the greatest foreign policy expert and president, really in a long, long time. And he's pursued peace. He's got peace, and we should trust that. Hey, he knows what he's doing. Historically, we can see that he knows what he's doing. Okay. On other news, Democrats are planning to counter Trump's upcoming State of the Union address. Okay. We saw this last time. It's ridiculous. They're holding up paddle boards like they want to play ping pong. It's ridiculous. They're like children, um, except children are more well behaved for the most part than they are, and they have a lot more knowledge as well. Um, it's really amazing because how can you see all the success President Trump is doing and start protesting about it? Right, you can disagree with some stuff, but then you can't say, "Oh, he's the worst president that ever." Like, you can't say that because obviously not. He's one of the best presidents ever. Um, and it's hypocritical. They didn't like they didn't do it with Obama. Like, you want to talk about ICE? One of the reasons why they would be protesting in Congress is, let's say, because of ICE. They didn't do it with Obama, right? Obama was the deporter in chief. They didn't do it with him. So this hurts the midterms for Trump. Sorry, not for Trump. This hurts the midterms for the Democrats because people are looking at them and they're like, "What are you doing? This is not a like this is the people are sick of the political theater. No one likes political theater because we all know it's fake. Everything in political theater is fake. It's not real. None of it is genuine. Or it may come from a genuine place in some things, but then they over exaggerate. They do all of this show and nonsense just to rile people up. It's all fake. It's all meant to make people have different emotions. It's completely nonsense, and that's what it's all about. And it's completely a waste of time. And Democrats are looking at this and be like, "What are you doing? You're not making us look good. You're not making the Democrats look good." So that's does I mean, they should go. Actually, I encourage them to do it. Keep doing that in the State of the Union. Republicans will continue winning the midterms, which would be great for us. So, actually, I encourage them to keep, um, you know, acting like fools in Congress. Um, and also for the Black History Month, reception. I think that's what it's called. Um, we got a lot of fantastic. There's this one. There's a lot of fantastic black people. There's one woman that was amazing. Unfortunately, I think she lost her grandson in D.C. Due to violence. And once President Trump got that under control, you know, she was extremely thankful, and she showed that on the microphone, and she was amazing. I encourage everyone watching, to watch that speech from hers because she's truly incredible. I love that lady. Um, because I mean, so energetic, especially the circumstances. She was amazing. Um, and yeah, and Steve Hilton. Steve Hilton is is on par with Chad Bianco, which, by the way, two Republicans. Right now, first of all, I endorse Steve Hilton, but I think Steve Hilton is the stronger Republican. I saw some stuff about Chad Bianco, and he was, kneeling down to BLM, rioters. That's something that's not a strong Republican would do. Chad Bianco has some good things. Steve Hilton has a lot better things. Steve Hilton, obviously, um, he was a advisor in the UK, and I think he's a stronger conservative, stronger Republican. Anyways, Steve Hilton is on his way to become the governor of California, the next governor of California. He is he switches between the first and the second position in the gubernatorial race, with first, well, let's say, being Steve Hilton, and the second being Chad Bianco, who's another Republican, right? And below him are all the Democrats. The Democrats are losing, right? If in the nonpartisan primary, if both the top two contenders are both Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco, there's 100% chance we will get a Republican governor in California, which is amazing. It's amazing. And hopefully Steve Hilton will win because I think he's a stronger candidate, a stronger Republican. Chad Bianco, if he wins, um, you know, at least it's a Republican, but I hope Steve Hilton wins because he has a lot going for him. Um, and we'll see what happens because the midterms, all the pollsters are saying it. Everyone is saying it. Gavin Newsom's approval rating is down the drain. Um, because obviously Gavin Newsom is doing a terrible job as governor, and we'll speak on Gavin Newsom in just a second again. But there is a really strong chance that all the pollsters, all the predictors, everyone are saying Republicans will win the midterms. And I know, there's the Polymarket and Kalshi predictions. I don't really buy into that much just because, the media um, lifts up the bets that become accurate, but there's for one bet that's accurate, there's thousands that are not accurate. So I don't really trust it that much. I mean, some of them are true, in some cases I believe some parts of it, but not all. But for mostly all the pollsters and the predictors, and the people who predict the elections, before Kalshi and Polymarket, they're saying, you know, uh, Republicans will win the midterms in a landslide in California too, with the governor, um, in the governor race. So we'll see. That's exciting stuff. That's great news. And on to Gavin Newsom again. Gavin Newsom is suing President Trump for, I think it was removing funding for, um, like a hydrogen plant or something like that. Um, really, Governor Newsom should not. You should not be complaining. Okay, you should not be complaining because you tax Californians so much, and you waste money on so many things. You stopped funding something for veterans as support for veterans recently. You also stopped, you also vetoed a bill that would give a pay raise to firefighters. You veto all of these good bills, and then you fund the nonsense things like a high-speed railway, which is, by the way, I mean, it's good. High-speed railway is good, but we got other things to fix before you do a high-speed railway. I mean, all the other trains in California need to be fixed as well, by other measures too, but that's a different thing. But like, Gavin Newsom, why are you suing President Trump for something that you can easily fix? Okay, we were one of the top five. California was one of the top five um, economies in the world, not just the United States, in the world. And then it went down because of Gavin Newsom. Under Gavin Newsom, California's economy went down drastically. And with the money that was lost because of him, you could have funded this hydrogen thing himself without federal funding. That could have happened, but he's not. He didn't let that happen. So President Trump, what he has to do is stop the wasteful spending. Because, by the way, there's a lot of fraud in California too. Where is that money going? Where is that $1.2 billion for the hydrogen plant going? We don't know. There's supposed to be billions of dollars for the high-speed rail, and now all that money is gone, and the high-speed rail is not even finished at all. So we can't even trust where you're spending the money in California. Why do you think President Trump should send you 1.2 billion for something? No, Gavin Newsom, you yourself can fund it if you stop wasting California's money. Okay, and besides that, there's a lot of good news.